Hello, 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 everyone. And hello, Timo. How are you doing?
Fine. This is the longest day, longest night of the year. Thank you, Vicky, for you too. And yeah, I'm happy that I can have more sunlight from now on.
So
Yeah.
need it. We've got my little guinea pigs have got their sort of, natural light in there. And I think I need one as well, because I'm definitely someone that needs lots of light. So hello, thank you so much. We've got quite a few people joining us already. And I'm going to, hi, Andrea, lovely Andrea. Thank you so much for interrupting your Prosecco drinking to join us. I'm sure you've got one on the go, I hope, Andrea. So it is this the winter solstice, a very special time for everyone, has just been an important time for us to all be looking forward about what we do want to create and what we do want to do. And most importantly, we want to be looking at what we can do from our dear friends. So today we're going to have Andrew appreciates the Prosecco joke. We're going to have answering your questions. I've got a few that audience members have sent me in as well to add to the list. So we're going to answer, Timo, as many of the questions as we get through, and then also make sure that we leave some time at the end to tell people what's happening next
Yeah.
year, some of our
So
exciting plans.
first, hi, Andrea. Second, healing frequencies of higher vibrations are microwaves included into that. Hello to Texas. And I also, hi, guten Tag, Miriam. Hi, I love Netherlands. I was a lot there. And yeah, hello to Arizona. Oh, Arizona is great. Cardinals, although they are not doing very fine right now, but all good. So hello to Canada too, and yeah, hello Heidi. So let's start.
Let's start. So the first question, Jenna got in there really quickly with a great question, a very common one, actually. It's quite complicated, so we're only going to be able to cover a little bit on this, Jenna. But any natural remedies for fatty cysts on a dog? She's got an 11-year-old chocolate lab.
Okay, so first of all, you have to tell us if the rest of the dog is also fatty, not just the cysts. So this is an important thing. So the cyst can happen. The cyst is normally a structure that tries to contain something that is damaging for the rest of the body. It can be a parasite, it can be a bad hair, it can be a piece of metal that went in, it can be many things, but also some fat that might contain a lot of toxins might be created in a cystic, let's say, bag to avoid the rest of the body to absorb it or to avoid the contact with the rest of it. So please let us know more about your dog, then we can discuss about it.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I see a lot of cysts in dogs. So Jenna, if you're still on the chat, please do put a little bit more detail about, is your dog a little bit overweight anyway? And what are you feeding your dog would be useful to know. But a couple of things immediately to talk about is that when you're looking at doing this, you want to detox lab with activated charcoal. Well, possibly healing frequencies. So we'll go through sort of that, because activated charcoal has some good points, but it can also cause demineralization of the body. So it's not
Yeah,
great.
you have to be careful with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't personally use activated charcoal for this sort of thing, because what I would want to do is I would want to use something that was safer for long-term use, so we can gradually take the toxins out. So I would be saying, Jenna, give us some more information if you're still on here, but also to look at the diet that your dog's on and making sure that that's suitable, because if it's on any processed diet, it's going to be more full of toxins. I would also be using something like the Clean Slate from Roots, which is absolutely brilliant at gently pulling toxins out of the body. And if it's an isolated cyst, you can also get some organic grapefruit essential oil, and you can then offer the dog the essential oil. If they're happy to sniff it, you can rub a few drops into a bit of coconut oil and rub that over the cyst as well, can help. So it's looking like Jenna might not be on the chat. So those are some good suggestions. But really, Jenna, we want to look at the whole condition of the dog and see if it's one-off or if it is, there's some other issues going on there as well. Another thing that works very well is green clay paste. So green clay mixed with a bit of water into a paste and put that over the cyst, which will gradually draw toxins out through the skin as well.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But again, first, let's find out if the rest of the body has struggles too, because if you do something local, you have to make sure that doesn't have a systemic effect. So let's find out first what the reason might be.
Great. Okay. So hopefully, Vicky's got a question here. Kobo has reoccurring yeast infections, something we've spoken about a lot, Vicky, on all our other calls, on her ears and body. Don't want to keep giving her prescription medications to destroy her gut flora. What can I give her?
Wise decision. Yeah. Okay. Let me start. Vicky, we talk about it a lot, but let's talk about it shortly here too. Yeast can only survive and thrive on carbohydrates. Drop it from the food, except your 3 to 4% of the whole food fiber content, and you'll be golden. Let's start there. And this will also help the gut flora a lot. Try to keep your food as fresh as possible. You are seeing already that we have courses for it, but I'm not trying to plug it. What I'm trying to say is in the courses, we are really talking about everything you can give to your dog safely and what to avoid. And starch is one of the things to avoid as much as you can, because it feeds the wrong type of gut flora and yeast. So drop the carbs in sugar form, mostly in starch form, and you will be on the right way. And no need for you cannot wash away the problem that comes from inside all the time. So if it's like you create suburbs full of ghettos, you cannot get rid of the mafia. So if you want to clean the mafia, the ghetto has to get wealthy again.
Yeah. So what can be really useful whilst your dog is sort of healing? So as Timo said, Vicky, when you make sure that the diet is appropriate and you've got very, very low carbs, and this is going to mean preparing your own food with as good a quality ingredients as possible, then as your dog slowly heals and her microbiome or his microbiome heals from the inside out, again, green clay, French green clay powder sprinkled on topically to help the symptoms whilst the dog's healing from the inside out is a really good way to do it. And that's completely safe if your dog licks it off as well. So I've used that a lot for fungal, but I definitely avoid the medicated shampoos because then they sort of strip the skin and sort of make the problem even worse.
There is Boop 45, funny name. Would you like to bring that up?
Which one?
Boop 45.
I can, but I was going to do them in order, so I didn't have to miss them. But
no, because it's connected to it directly about the ears and okay. So first of all, if you think that killing the bacteria and everything else in the ears is a good idea, it's not, because they have their own balance and it keeps the ears actually healthy. That don't forget that the ears are opening to the outside world, and there is always bacteria and other things coming in. So a healthy flora there is what you want, not wiping off everything on earth just to make sure that you are happy alone. You have to keep it in balance, and the way to do it is to feed the right guys and get rid of the wrong guys, right? And the good guys will get rid of the wrong guys if the balance is there. If a dog eats like a dog, like a wolf, then everything's fine because their ears work. It's not like they have fungus problem all the time. We create those problems. We are the creators of the fungus problem because we put them in an environment that is wrong. We feed them with food that is wrong, and we have their circadian rhythm that is wrong. So we put them into that position. We have to remove them from that position. We have to let them be dogs, eat like a dog, move like a dog, sleep like a dog, and on and on and on. Does it make sense?
Yeah, perfect. So healing vibrations. In terms of diatomaceous earth, essential or activated charcoal to bind toxins, so not to get sick. I would advise a real caution with these. So a lot of these things are very good for short-term use, but not for, can have serious effects for long-term use. So activated charcoal is brilliant if there's a poisoning event or you need to quickly get toxins out of the digestive tract. But it for long-term use, it can be very detrimental because it can leak nutrients from the bones. And certainly DE as well can be very it can cause problems long term because it's quite abrasive on the intestinal lining.
Yeah, it's like the afterburner of a jet plane. If you activate it all the time, you have no fuel. So you have to be sparse with it. So you have to use it strategically, and it's not an everyday item, any of them. So
yeah. So a lot of these things are very, very good, but there is such a thing as too much for good thing. So Miss Chrome Sticks. Hi, Miss Chrome Sticks. Thank you for joining us again. This is one of the ones we wanted to speak about, and we are going to be adding an extra bonus module to our cat and dog courses, which anyone who's already got them will have access to in the new year. So any tips for a gradual change of diet from shop bought to fresh food from our course?
Let me start with the most important word here, which is gradual. So it changes from diet to diet, because if you're used to swim at 10 degrees Celsius, by the way, water, and you jump into 8, it's easier for you if you jump it from 24 Celsius degrees, right? So if your dog is already eating mostly a very healthy diet, a natural diet, but cooked, let's say, and you go to a rover diet, then the transition is in 3 to 6 weeks. But if you go from a really cheap and bad diet and your dog is eating that type of food for quite a long time, it's not very young, it's not easy to change. And don't forget, the older the animals, the longer it takes to change, because the body is not having the right amount of hormones just to react to everything very quickly. Then it might take up to 3 months. So sometimes I see even dogs correcting themselves in 6 months, very old seniors. But gradually is super important. So how to support this? First of all, don't forget, when you move from something unhealthy to healthy, you don't, because it's gradual, you don't do healthy as much as possible in the very first go, because the body doesn't accept it as healthy. It's just now it's used to unhealthy and tries to go with that. It tries to make the best out of that. That includes the microbiome and everything. So slowly increase the healthy and reduce the healthy every day, bit by bit. But observe your animal. If it starts to show signs that the new healthy is a bit overwhelming, then push back, go 2 steps back. Sometimes for a good jump, you have to take a deep squat. So it's go back, wait a bit, and then move on. Don't forget, your goal is to make everything perfect or everything the best you can do. Not now. It's like, it doesn't have to be today. It has to be in the best time that your animal agrees with or your animal's body agree with, right?
Great. A little bit more information from Vicky, whose dog had the yeast infection. I've asked Vicky to, she's saying she's feeding chicken, lamb, beef, turkey with little bits of carrots, apples, sweet potato as per our program. Wonder if she's allergic to chicken. I have asked her to put in the chat whether how long she's been on that, because again, it depends, just like we were just talking, it depends how long she's been on the new program, Vicky, and how much time her microbiome has had to adapt.
Yeah, and also you can also drop carrots, apples, and sweet potato. So just to avoid sugars for 3-4 weeks. You can reintroduce it later on, but just go with mostly meat and non-starchy vegetables like parsley, some extremely low sugar berries. You can try them and see if it makes it better. But normally yeast problems don't come with allergies as much. So yeast is coming, of course, low quality immune response, but they do with sugar imbalance or starch imbalance.
Yeah, perfect. So substitute more greens for the vegetable matter in the feed. Nettles, if you've got any nettles or cleavers growing in your garden, they're amazing. The other thing is, Vicky, have a look and see whether you're using any chemical wormers, chemical flea products, etc., because all of those can wipe out the microbiome and slow down the healing process as well. A slightly different question here. Sorry to hear this, Mary. They had a hedgehog that's been in their garden for 4 years and was very happy and everything, and then suddenly passed away 2 days ago. Could it be because not enough light?
I don't think is that a problem. Normally, hedgehogs die with environmental pollution, and they are really sensitive to heavy metals. They are sensitive to minerals that shouldn't be in their soil because they're very connected to the bugs and all that stuff. So mostly it's about the environment, not the light.
Yeah. And it could just be that, it had reached its time now as well. So, yeah, I'm sorry for your loss, though. That's always sad. A little bit more from Boot 45, who was saying about the garlic. He gets bloody wipes and he's very old. But I think we've covered that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, can dogs have kombucha?
Yes, but there are so many different types of it. So it's again fermentation, and I don't know what quality of fermentation. Depends on the quality and the diversity of the fermentation. But don't forget, these animals have very short intestinal tracts, so fermentation is not as prominent for them as it's for us or for animals with far longer and bigger digestive tracts. But you can experiment, but use your common sense or gut feeling before you do that.
Yeah. This is having negative results with Flea Assassin product. I'm not familiar with that product and whether it's a natural one or not. To call the cats off it, and they're currently rubbing each cat down with a very small amount of virgin coconut oil. Yeah, that's a good one.
That might work. That might work. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good try.
Yeah, please let us know next how that's getting on with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gypsy Girl, is it true that dogs today do not have the same digestive tract as wolves?
Yes, but the change is not really as big. The main change is not in the digestive tract as you understand in terms of the stomach and the intestinal tract, but the change is in the pancreas. And the genetic change gives the pancreas the ability to produce more amylase to digest a bit more starch. The problem is starch to be digested properly, the amylase has to also be present in the mouth, in the saliva. It isn't. So dogs can, digest some kind of starch, but they're not very good at it. So yes, you are right, but the changes are very small. The changes are very similar to the differences between you and a big ape, a gorilla's digestive tract changes. It's really under 1%. It's not really worth talking about.
Yeah, great question. So this is such a common theme, and we've covered this in a lot of our things, another ear problem. So 12-year-old beagle has constantly a bad ear, constantly cleaning it and stinks. I've used essential oils with apple cider vinegar diluted in a spray bottle. It's like you were talking about before, wasn't it, Timo?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So think about this. If you want to solve a problem and you are unhappy that some bunch of bad type of people are in your neighborhood, you have to make the neighborhood not making them happy, right? Your neighborhood has to be the right one for not containing these type of people. You cannot have a bad neighborhood all the time and complain about bad people in the bad neighborhood, because that's what bad neighborhood is. So the ears have to be having the right type of bacteria there, and the food and the skin and everything around the animal has to welcome the balanced right type of guys and not welcome the bad type of guys. So it's an internal, how do you say it? It's a change that has to happen internally from inside out, not from outside with your manipulation of the ear. If it makes any sense, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so that's a really good one. I would urge caution with advice like this, Lisa, because Candeston can be very abrasive if used in the wrong circumstances. Again, it's one that's used for thrush and things for infections. So again, as Timo goes, yes, there are some things that you can use obviously to relieve the symptoms whilst you're doing the healing from the inside out, and that's really important. But I would really caution sort of using things like this for all sorts of things, because one, dogs can actually sort of wipe their things and lick their ears, and that could be quite toxic to them. And secondly, you know, if it's the wrong sort of things, it can be really stingy. So I personally love either spraying the ears with colloidal silver spray for a short amount of time, or again dusting with the green clay powder works so well to relieve the heat and everything. But you need to be very careful to block the eardrums so that the powder doesn't go down the eardrums. You just get a little bit on your hand and you gently just wipe over the ear thing so that it doesn't go down the ear canal.
Yeah, and if you feel like your dog is not hearing good anymore, let the vet check if the ear canal is blocked, because that
Yeah,
happens a lot after these troublesome things. So you think that, oh my God, after the ear problems, my dog cannot hear well anymore. You think that that might be a more hearing problem, but normally it's the drum is blocked, the ear canal is blocked. Go to the vet, let them check it.
yeah. And Vicky, the dog with the ongoing yeast infection, has been on the new feeding program from our course for 3 months.
Mhm.
So I've just put a little message in the chat just to say, yeah, like we said, reduce the carbohydrates considerably, substitute for the green veggies and things, and also have a look, Vicky, to see whether there's any other chemicals in the environment or going on or in her. So one common problem is groomers, if your dog goes to a groomer, products they use, but also look at anything like vaccinations, flea and tick products, wormers, etc. So we've got Elisa. Anyone else's animals being very anxious or confused or just not normal? Cuffs are really, your cats are really suffering from these incoming energies. I've got a little comment on that. I would say, Elijah, that our animals would be okay if we're okay. So I would really encourage you to listen, do what really fills you with joy, do what really grounds and strengthens you, because the most dominant forces, our animals are generally very good at balancing what's going on from energetics from the planet, if their humans are okay. But if you're feeling the stress of all that, they will probably be feeling that. So, you know, some of the healing frequency musics with you, getting out in nature, doing what brings you joy, and trying to sort of cut out listening to any things that cause you to be anxious, and see if that affects your cats. Because I know from personal experience, our cats are so in tune to our energies. If they're worried about their humans, whilst most cats tend to be very good at dealing with what the planet throws at them. Any other comments for you with that, Timo?
No, I totally agree.
Yeah, so it sounds like some self-love time for you, Eliza, might be really good. An interesting here.
So what I just want to say for Mary Clock, I thank you for letting us know about your hedgehog, but I can tell that I had the chance in my younger years at the vet school to see and dissect hedgehogs. They were poisoned, so it's very easy for me to see the patterns when they happen, and they happen all the time because these animals are very close to the soil. They are very connected to the soil. So I'm sorry again to hear that, but this is what happens very, very often, quite often.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very sad. Yeah. Right. Right. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll through the comments as quickly as I can, everyone. So I take it that carbohydrates are also responsible for my 13-year-old 12-pound dog's warts. I've been putting aloe vera and apple cider vinegar on them.
Yes and no. Warts can happen as a reaction to insulin levels, and that is correct. High sugar levels can cause warts, and also, of course, the papilloma virus can also cause it. And when the immune system is down, more warts will come up. And when the body is totally overwhelmed with the carbs, the immune system also suffers, and that can also end up with causing warts. So yes, you're correct. It's
and
possible.
also, we've spoken a lot about the carbohydrates, LB, because some of the people who were doing the questions had already got the dog course or the cat course. But obviously, you've also got to look at the quality of the ingredients of everything else that you're feeding as well. So that's quite important. Now, we've got a few questions here about fleas on cats. I feel your pain, guys. I've got 5 cats and 3 dogs, and the cats are constantly, and I've got lots of foxes in the garden and badgers. So what I use personally is I use a combination of green clay, neem powder, and diatomous earth powder in equal proportions, and I mix it in a little shaker bottle, and I powder dust them on that every couple of days and rub it into their coats, because that's safe for them to lick off if they need to. But you have to do it every few days to break the cycle, and then obviously washing the beddings. It is really, really hard with cats because most essential oils aren't safe to use on cats. So it's a constant battle, actually, for most people. I'd be intrigued to see how you get on with the little coconut oil. I've tried that a bit with mine, but most of my cats, their fur's too long to actually get it down into the fur, so it just sits on the top. But I have heard other people doing that. I've heard other people using apple cider vinegar, but I haven't had any success with that, and I feel that could be quite harsh. Have you got any other suggestions, Timo?
No, it's good.
Yeah, I think, try sort of that and see. Jenna, we did cover your contact about who's filled with fatty cysts. We answered that at the beginning of the show, Jenna, your thing. So if you missed the beginning of the show, please go back and listen to that, because we spent quite a bit of time talking about your dog's fatty lumps. So if you're back on here, Jenna, tell us whether your dog is got fat layers, if it's a bit overweight, and also whether it's what you're feeding it.
Yeah, and then what kind of environment you are in.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a little 10-year-old Cairn Terrier, terrible bad breath and tartar. She eats freeze-dried raw. She had her teeth cleaned a year ago, and it's back to where she was.
All right, so what else does she eat except the freeze-dried raw, and what is these freeze-dried raw containing? Please let us know.
Yeah. So if you could add some more details there, El Hansen. Healing frequencies. I really, really appreciate you putting your wisdom in here, but can we please all be careful with the advice, because you're recommending essential oils for the cat, and a lot of essential oils applied topically to cats are highly, highly toxic.
Yeah,
so personally, I only recommend using essential oils with cats for people that are trained in self-medication, zoopharmacognosy. So a lot of these things can be really good, but they can be dangerous if used things. Now, I'm sure you're experienced, but some other people might not be, and could do a lot of harm by applying for essential oils topically to cats. So we just need to be a little bit cautious based on people's level of expertise with working with some of these things. So Timo and I always try, if people aren't fully trained with working with things like essential oils, it's always best to err on the side of caution, because I use them all the time in my practice, and I have courses teaching people how to use them safely. But if they're overused or used incorrectly, particularly with cats, they can be highly, highly toxic.
Yeah, and cats are super sensitive to it. That means you can also destroy their senses. They 3-dimensional. I don't know if you know what I mean, but they totally don't understand anymore where they are, what they're doing. They're totally dizzy, and that can be caused by a lot of essential oils.
Yeah. Okay. So Deborah's question: any advice for a 14-year-old dog with a fast-growing tumor? owner with no money, currently doing Panicure Daily protocol.
That's really hard. Cancer advice is super hard without knowing all the details or circumstances. We have to know more. I'm very sorry.
Yeah,
I would like to help, but I have to know more.
Yeah, she would have to book a consult for that, Deborah, because there's so many things we'd need to look into to that, and also to make sure that any advice didn't contradict what she's already on. So I'm afraid that is sort of so serious that needs a much more detailed thing. So Elle Hansen, the cane terrier with bad breath and tartar, who eats free-dried and rolls, has come back with she has no worm or flea or ticks. I've just purchased your raw food course, so hoping that may help. Any suggestions? She has pre and probiotics. Worm test came back fine. So you probably don't need the pre and probiotics. We don't recommend those for long-term use, and we have got a whole video on that. If you look through the Vibrant Animal Team series, you'll see we did a whole video on that. And then, yes, as Timo said, the gradual transition onto the raw food will be really, really important. And then if she has got tartar as well, she could look at introducing some rib bones, couldn't she? Some, say, chicken rib bones for the dog to chew on.
Raw, of course.
Raw, absolutely raw.
Yeah.
They really help. Great. Vicky's bought the French green clay. It's brilliant. I love French green clay. Let's have a look. Right. The rest of her lab, Jenna's, the rest of her lab is not fatty, in answer to the question. But we still need to know what she's eating. So that we did.
Yep.
And then do listen to the start of it as well. Yeah. A couple of people have bought their own kit and making their own colloidal silver. That's great. Again, about how do you support your 13-year-old dog just diagnosed with cancer? I'm so sorry to hear that. But please do book a consult if you want to through catherineedwards.live. I'll show you that at the end. If you go on to catherineedwards.live and go onto the consults page, because we do need a lot of information to deal with that. This is an interesting one. Great Dennis barking more and hearing noises from the woods.
Possible.
Well, I don't know. Is that so? Yes. I mean, we don't know really. Can't really say what's on there. No, guys, I don't put all this stuff on my website about the alternative flea and wormers, because that's not the business that I'm in anymore. And also, everyone's in different countries, and everything, what's available in different countries is completely different. So it's very easy to do your own research on that for natural wormers and natural flea treatments based on your the countries you're in. But I can't put all the things like that on my website, because everyone's availability where they live is completely different. But if you Google that or DuckDuckGo it, then there's a lot you can find on there. Cat couldn't breathe through his nose and kept getting on antibiotic steroids as a natural way. Could be so many reasons for that, couldn't there?
That's correct. That highly possible that has something to do with immune reaction, but there might be a deviation. It might be something inside stuck somewhere. You have to see a vet and someone that is really good at checking these things, instead of just a local veterinarian. Maybe to institute somewhere, a vet school, a clinic, university clinic. That would be a good thing.
Yeah. Yes, unfortunately, until we know more about things like that, it's really difficult to advise, because we really need to know what the root cause of it is. Andrea's been saying she's been using the Clean Slate on her lovely elderly cat for 6 weeks so, and his joints and alertness are so much better. I agree. Same with mine, Andrea, and I've had so much great feedback from my clients on that, so that's really worth looking into. Let's have is Ivermectin a good dewormer for cats, dogs, and people?
Ivermectin is a very good dewormer, period, and it has almost no side effect. It's one of the drugs actually that I think has the least unpleasant side effects when used. It can make you a bit itchy or some red spots, but that's about it. For cats, there is no side effect even reported. So you can use, if you follow the dose. For dogs, the same. For people, I don't want to go into too much, but let's say there are over 3 to 4 billion times it was sold to the humans. So I think it's more or less safe.
Yeah.
If it
Are there
answers your question.
certain breeds of dogs that have to be careful with ivermectin?
Yeah, but again, so it's yeah. So
Well,
it's
the collies and things.
yeah, that is correct. So
Yeah.
there are some dog breeds and some mutts that might react to it, but that's why you have to buy it from your vet anyway. So go check it with your veterinarian. He will give you all the heads up.
Yeah. Okay. Boot 45, eating dirt outside. Well, it's probably showing that your dog has got a nutritional deficiency. So 9
That's
times
correct.
when they're eating dirt, it's showing that their microbiome is out of balance and that they've got some nutritional deficiencies. So it's really important you look into the diet. There's a lot of work with self-medication you can do. There's a whole course on how to use self-medication using herbs and essential oils on my website, and it's still on the Catherine Edwards Academy website, which I will show you all in a minute. So that would be a really good one. So yeah, okay. A couple more questions and then we're going to have to finish. We're really great audience again. Great questions, everyone. Thank you. Hot spots for a 12-year-old beagle. She has thyroid hypo and takes Apothem. Can I wean her off the allergy meds? Again, it's a complicated one.
Yeah, that's a very complicated one. There are so many things around it.
Yeah.
And yes, Merry Christmas to you too.
Yes. I think you've really got to look at her diet, Val. Really look at her diet carefully. And we would need to go, when you're on those sort of medications, we need to really look at that carefully. So again, that would need a more detailed consult, because when you've got a dog that's on these medications, you've got to be really careful what it is. But the hot spots are very likely to be very influenced by diet or chemicals in the environment. So you really want to be looking at chemicals in the home, chemicals she might be exposed to outside. Again, any flea tick products, wormers that she's on, but diet is absolutely crucial to that.
And sometimes I think that we also, you and I, Catherine, will overlook the toys and blankets and the pillows or baskets that the dogs or cats are around. So
Yeah.
try to remove some of them. If there are some constant contacts with some of them, try to remove them and see if there is any improvement.
Yeah, great idea. Can humans take a dog dewormer to cleanse your body?
Yes, the dose might be different, and normally let's say the medication that's approved for animals are not always the same quality as for humans. So I cannot tell, yes, do it. It might be safe, but it's on your own risk.
Yeah, we wouldn't know because everything's different. Yeah. Lipomas on dogs. This is a very common problem again, isn't it, Timo?
Yeah. Yeah, and this is not so easy. There are so many things around it. Again, these are very big questions. It's like very deep questions. So many things can be around it. Many things can be influencing it, and we don't know the reason of the lipoma, the source of the lipoma. Why is it happening? So we have to know more about it. But it's impossible to give you a distant diagnosis and help from. Yeah, so it's impossible for me.
This quickly. What we can say, Carolyn, the same as everyone. So have a look at the diet she's on, because a lot of them are, related to toxin accumulation in the body. So have a look at the diet she's on. Look at some gentle detoxing methods, such as the Clean Slate from Root. Have a look at any other chemicals that she's exposed to, either ones that you're using for treatments of fleas, worms, etc., or in the environment, because it's really essential that she's used to that you're removing exposure to chemicals as much as possible. And then in addition, if it's a little dog, if it goes to a groomer, be very cautious about what products the groomers are using. Can give a lot more information, but it would need to be in a consult. And this links in together. So the lipomas and the cysts are quite linked. So Jenna's saying the fatty cyst, her lab is 100% healthy otherwise, but they started after her first booster of rabies vaccine. How often do we see this?
Yeah.
Hasn't had any shots since she was 4. Switch her to Gentle Giant's food, which I'm not familiar with. Can't afford a raw diet. So likely to be toxins being taken out of circulation in the body. It's great that you've stopped the boosters, but diet is absolutely key. And most people find actually home preparing their own diet can be just as cheap as buying any processed diet. Anything else to add to that, Timo?
No, that's great. Well done.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've probably exhausted our time for now. You've got really good questions, everyone. Sorry we can't get through all of them, but we do want to just tell you a bit about what's happening next year. In terms of people get crazed with essential oils. Yeah, essential oils are brilliant. Use them all the time, but there's no such thing as saying which is an essential oil, safe essential oil for cats. This is the whole point. I will do a whole talk about essential oils on one of these because it's so important, is how you use them. There's certainly ones that aren't, but I use essential oils via self-selection for my cats. There's no such thing. It's really how you use them with cats and dogs. It's really important. So I will program that into doing something on that tomorrow. So what have we got coming up next year? There's a few things that you're really excited about, aren't there, Timo?
Yeah, first I want to start to say that we really wanted to have this year, but so many things happen. As you know, it's not that easy. We are moving on with the horse courses. Both Catherine and I, we are deeply connected to the horses, and I am mostly specialized in the movement and tendons and tendon joints and muscles of the horses, and we will move that direction too. So we will help people with horses and their tendon injuries and joint injuries and how to move on from there. We will have something beautiful, mostly done by Catherine. That will be the dog wellness course, and that I really wanted to see it myself for a very long time, and Catherine is moving there slowly. And we will also have the add-ons to our already existing courses. So if you already paid for the course, you will be eligible just to watch it, download it, and we just want to expand it a bit and help with the transition. So these things are coming. And if you have good ideas to whatever else you need, just let us know. We might also work on that too. But let us work on this first because we have to get this thing rolling.
Yes, exactly. And absolutely, I will put the link, unless my trusted friend Andrew gets there before me. A couple of people saying, can you book a session with us? Yes, basically what we do is you can book a session with me at www.catherineedwards.life, and there's a consult page there. And then that asks you to fill out a consult form that can be gives all the information I need to know to discuss it. And then if there's ones that I need Timo's input as well, we arrange that separately. So you book it through me and then I arrange it with Timo separately. But normally the initial first consult is with myself. And with these things where they're quite complicated existing health issues, that's absolutely essential, because obviously there's a lot of information we need to go through to look at the root causes. Thank you, Andrew. You're amazing. She's got that up quicker than I could. So thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited about what we're doing next year, because not only have we got some great courses, which will all be really affordable, we will be having at least a once a month Q&A session there. And what we'll try and do is we'll try and say, you know, for people to I'll try and make sure we get through more people. So sort of one answer per person sort of thing. So that will really help. If you could put in one question per person, would really help us get through more people. And really, really nice if you could like and subscribe and share to this, because one of the things that we're passionate about is, as you learn something, share it with your friends that have got animals as well, because so many of these problems can have some quite simple solutions. It's just that often we've been fed the wrong information that makes it quite difficult for people to know what's right and what they can and can't be doing. And the other thing is on the diet side of things, for those of you that sort of can't afford raw food and things like that, remember every little bit you do makes a difference, doesn't it, Timo? So any bit of real food that you're adding to your dog or cat's bowl will make a difference.
Yeah, it's like I'm not doing squats because I cannot be a bodybuilder. It's like you still do your squats because it makes you healthy. So every bit helps. Yes, that's for sure.
Every little bit helps. So don't wait until you can be perfect. Do little steps. And what most of us find is that every week, if we make a step in the right direction, then our animals really, really thanks us for it.
Yep.
So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I really hope everyone has a really wonderful time over Christmas and New Year with your lovely four-legged friends, and that we will really look forward to seeing you in the new year. Any final thoughts, Timo?
No. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you're believing or not believing in.
Yeah, and if
see you soon.
If you've got a bit of time, Andrew's there's a playlist on the YouTube, because a lot of the people I'm seeing, a lot of the questions you're asking about allergies and things like this, we have already covered in our other videos. So please do go back and have a look at those. Because carry on.
Last thing, it's time for turkey time and all these different foods you are going to eat and prepare and enjoy for the holiday season. Don't forget, mostly your dogs are not trash cans. Don't feed them with all the rest of your turkeys and bird bones and cooked stuff. Please feed them as good as you feed yourself, and don't act like they would be your, let's say, food rest recyclers. I think it's very important.
Really, really important. Yeah, that's a great point. And remember, no chocolates near any of your dogs. Yeah. Happy holidays, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you in the new year. Thank you so much. Thanks, Timo. Thanks, Andrea.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone who's joined us. Bye.
Bye.